The Honourable Minister of Finance.
We listen to Canadians, something that the Conservative may want to do a bit more. And what Canadians have told us, Mr. Speaker, is affordability is the first concern. The second is housing, and the third is the economy. What have we done, Mr. Speaker, while the leader was away? The first thing we did for Canadians was to reduce taxes for 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker. Everyone got a raise on Canada Day, Mr. Speaker. The second thing, we removed GST on first-time home buyer, Mr. Speaker. And we are going to build with Canadians, with every Canadian, the strongest economy in the G7. That's what this Liberal government is about.
Mr. Speaker, I'm surprised by my colleague's question. Not only did we listen to the Conservative constituents and all Canadians, they told us one thing, Mr. Speaker: tackle the cost of living. And the first thing our government, Liberal government, did was to lower tax for 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker. That's money back in the pockets of people in his riding, Mr. Speaker. The second thing that the Canadians asked us to do is to build affordable homes. And yesterday, Mr. Speaker, we launched Build Canada Homes to help more families. On this side of the House, we're going to work to build the strongest economy in the G7. The Honourable Mr. Speaker, what young Canadians and Canadians in general want is obviously to be able to have an affordable life in Canada, to be able to buy a home and an affordable home, and also to have a resilient economy for the future. Because on this side of the House, we've always understood that the best thing we can do is to build a strong economy for all Canadians. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, I can tell you that the Liberals will work together to build the strongest economy, to make life affordable for Canadians, build more homes, make Canada, Mr. Speaker, the best economy in the G7.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'd like to thank my colleague for his excellent work. Indeed, this major project will increase capacity at the Port of Montreal by about 60%, Mr. Speaker, by providing Eastern Canada with the commercial infrastructure to ensure the flow of goods. With the creation of the Major Projects Office, we're moving from vision to action. Our government is committed to delivering transformative projects that not only create thousands of good jobs, but also connect our diverse regions and stimulate new industries. Mr. Speaker, that's how we're going to make Canada the strongest economy in the G7.
Mr. Speaker, I have good news for the member. That is a very real issue, and that's why we have a very real answer, Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House. The very first thing that this Prime Minister did for Canadians was to reduce taxes for 20 million Canadians. 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker, have more money in their pocket to face the cost of living, Mr. Speaker. On this side of the House, we're not about slogans. We're not about jokes. We are serious to deliver for Canadians, and we will continue to fight for Canadians at every segment of the way, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, Canadians met with the Prime Minister, and they saw that they had a Prime Minister who listens and who has a vision, and above all, a man of action. With the new Liberal government, the first thing we did, Mr. Speaker, was to reduce taxes for 22 million Canadians all across the country, recognizing that we need to pull together to help those who are the most in need. But in doing that, Mr. Speaker, we also enabled those who wanted to buy a home to pay less GST, less tax, and at the same time, we have embarked on the most ambitious house building program in Canadian history.
Now we're halfway through the fiscal year, and the Prime Minister hasn't even presented a budget, despite the fact that he managed to double the deficit. It's now twice as high as that of Trudeau. What an accomplishment. And now we have inflation at a rate that is 50 times higher. And for food, it's up 70%. There are more people relying on food banks now. The Prime Minister said that we could judge him by grocery prices. So, what's the verdict? The Honourable Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, Canadians made a choice at the last election. They chose a government that will focus on the economy and on change, Mr. Speaker. That's exactly what we're doing. What we said is that we will be rigorous in our spending, to be ambitious in our investment, Mr. Speaker, because Canadians understand that if we want to build a strong economy in the 21st century, we have to invest. We're here for Canadians. We're going to build the most resilient economy in the G7 and for the future, and we're going to build a Canada that all Canadians can be proud of. Canadians, well, many of them can't even eat. The Prime Minister promised to spend less, but the deficit is twice as high. He promised that grocery prices would go down, but they're up 70% higher than what the Bank of Canada had said. There's more poverty now. Does the Prime Minister recognize that his empty promises have led to empty stomachs? The Honourable Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, on this side of the House, we obviously recognize the situation of many Canadians, and that is why during the last election, Canadians chose a Liberal government, a government that stands up for them. And the first measure that we implemented was to reduce taxes for 22 million Canadians, exactly to help families across our country. And we can be proud of this, and that's something that's the Conservatives should celebrate. And exactly this type of measures we're going to take. We're going to help the middle class and families and build a Canada that all Canadians can be proud of.
Opposition. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised that he would spend less, yet his deficit spending is 100% more than even Justin Trudeau. And what is the real human consequence of that? Food price inflation is rising 70% faster than the Bank of Canada's target. And today, the CEO of the major food bank network in Toronto says that there has been a 400% increase in food bank use there. Does the Prime Minister understand that his empty promises lead to empty stomachs?
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, it's reassuring to hear the Leader of the Opposition that listened to the Prime Minister during the summer. I'm glad to see that he retained that we're going to spend less so we can invest more, Mr. Speaker, and investing more in Canadians. Like, for example, reducing the taxes for 22 million Canadians, Mr. Speaker. Like making sure that people who want a first-time home, buy a first-time home, will pay less in GST, Mr. Speaker. Making sure that we eliminate the consumer carbon tax, Mr. Speaker. I think the leaders should celebrate that this government is there for families across Canada to build a stronger and more...
Believe it or not, this Prime Minister admits he'll outspend Trudeau. Large Liberal deficits made in core inflation 50% over target and food prices 75% over target. No wonder everything is so expensive in this country. And listen to these stats. Beef up 33%, soup 24%, and coffee 22%. Now, inflation's up, deficits are up, and borrowing costs are up, while the economy's down, Canadians are down, because this Prime Minister's elbows are down. Why doesn't he put his head down and stop spending so much so grocery prices can come down?
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, we understand the situation of many families in this country, and that's why this Prime Minister has been key in acting to make sure to make life more affordable for Canadians. But the real question that people are asking at home today, Mr. Speaker, many are looking, why would the Conservative voted against childcare, Mr. Speaker? Why did the Conservative voted against pharmacare, Mr. Speaker? Why would the Conservative voted against the dental care program, Mr. Speaker? Why would the Conservatives stand up in this House asking these questions when they voted against helping Canadians? On this side of the House, we'll always be on the side of Canadians.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister told Canadians that he was the man with the plan, yet 6 months later, his budget is nowhere to be seen. And experts now project that his deficit will be double what Trudeau already created. This Prime Minister is proving one thing, that Liberals, no matter how they brand themselves, cannot be trusted to handle our finances. Canadians expect and deserve a government that will work for them on the issues that matter the most. Yet 6 60% of Canadians say that cost of living keeps them up at night. So when will the Liberals start acting like it?
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, in fact, we spent the summer listening to Canadians. And you know what Canadians have told this House? They said act with respect to the cost of living, Mr. Speaker, and it's exactly what we've done with respect to reducing tax for 22 million Canadian, reducing the rebate for having a rebate for GST for first-time home buyer. The second thing they said, Mr. Speaker, is make homes more affordable, Mr. Speaker. That's why you've seen recently we launched Build Canada Homes, Mr. Speaker. The Conservatives should be celebrating today instead of talking down Canada and the Canadian economy. Let's work together to build the strongest nation, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's a great question indeed. We're going to present a great budget in this House on the 4th of November, Mr. Speaker. This is going to be a generational investment in our future. We're going to build this country, Mr. Speaker. We're going to protect our communities. We're going to empower Canadians. We're going to build the strongest economy in the G7. We're going to build this country like never before. We're going to build the Canada of the 21st century. Mr. Speaker, we are the true north, strong and free.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank my colleague for his excellent question. We will be tabling an excellent budget on November 4th in this House, Mr. Speaker. It will be a generational investment in our future, Mr. Speaker. It will be a budget to build our country, a budget to protect our communities, a budget to build a stronger economy, Mr. Speaker. We are going to build the most resilient economy in the G7. We're going to build the Canada of the 21st century. Vive le Canada, Mr. Speaker.
Expectations for this Prime Minister were low, but holy smokes, he's been Prime Minister for 6 months and we still haven't seen a budget. The Prime Minister said he would spend less than Trudeau, but his deficit is projected to be almost double the number that forced the former Finance Minister to resign the first time around. This is another broken Liberal promise. It's a Liberal bait and switch. This massive deficit spending is driving up inflation and sending the price of groceries sky high. When will this Prime Minister admit that his broken promises are breaking the bank for Canadians?
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, now that our Conservative colleagues know the date of the budget, I hope they're prepared to go back in their riding to explain to Canadians this generational investment in our collective future, Mr. Speaker. I'm sure they're going to be proud to go back in their riding to say, we're building this country, Mr. Speaker, that this budget is going to protect their community, Mr. Speaker, that this budget is going to empower Canadians, Mr. Speaker, that this budget is going to build the strongest economy in the G7. I hope all the Conservative and all members of this House will go out and tell Canadians, together we'll make it. We're the true north.
Speaker, as I said earlier, the government will be tabling its budget on November 4th. But, Mr. Speaker, that's where we'll see the true colors of the Conservatives. Will they support a plan, a generational investment in the Canadian economy? Will they support Canadian families? Will they be there to support the Canadian economy? Will they be there to support Canadian workers, Mr. Speaker? The last time we tabled the steps to help Canadian families, they voted against it. And we'll find out where they stand when the next budget is tabled, because we expect everyone to support it to build a strong country.
C'est quoi l'ampleur?
What is the scope of the Liberal deficit? Mr. Speaker, first, I would like to welcome the new pages here in Parliament. There will be a new budget from the government released on November 4th, and that will be the biggest investment budget in generations for Canada.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
How big is the deficit that the Prime Minister is running?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm looking forward with the Minister of Finance to releasing the budget on the 4th of November. That budget will contain the biggest investment in this country's future in a generation. Building homes, building new port infrastructure, new trade corridors, new energy infrastructure, building the strongest economy in the G7.
Well done.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Normalement,
Usually, the current government presents the deficit at the beginning of the fiscal year. Now, 6 months have gone by, and we still don't know how big the deficit is. This means a lot of uncertainty and pushes away investment and kills 86,000 jobs. It's the first time in the country's history that the Prime Minister won't tell us what the deficit is 6 months into the fiscal year. He says he's a budget expert, so does he know how big his deficit is? Yes or no? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. I'd like to thank him for the compliment. Yes, I am a fiscal budget expert. Yes, I know that. Thank you. And I know that the current economic context here in Canada, and what's causing uncertainty is a trade war. We have to control what we can control, and that's investment in our future.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
surely if he was such an expert, he would know the size of his own deficit. It's now halfway through the fiscal year. 6 months have gone by, and he has announced $40 billion of additional spending. Deficits drive up inflation, grocery prices, housing costs, and interest rates. They drive out investment from our country and uncertainty that destabilizes our economy. That's why every other prime minister in Canadian history has announced the deficit at the beginning of the fiscal year. We're 6 months in. Does he even know the size of his own deficit?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I know many things. And one of the things I know, the member opposite, the Leader of the Opposition, just mentioned interest rates. One thing I know is that Canadian interest rates are much lower than American interest rates. They're lower because this country's fiscal situation is strong, because this government has a plan to grow this economy, and we will keep doing it. We'll keep doing it.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Speaker, the collapsing economy is bringing down interest rates, but the financial expert doesn't even know what his own deficit is. But another financial expert spoke yesterday. The parliamentary budget officer said the deficit will absolutely be higher because of additional spending. He said he doesn't know what the government's fiscal anchors are because they do not exist. He says the labor market sucks and wages are not going up. These are quotes. Is this why Liberal members on the committee who heard those truth bombs threatened that the Prime Minister would fire the parliamentary budget officer after 166 days?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I don't recognize that, Mr. Speaker. I don't recognize that characterization. I just appointed the parliamentary budget officer, and this government does have fiscal anchors. This government has fiscal anchors. We are going to spend less so the country can invest more. We are going to balance the operational budget in 3 years. We are going to have a declining level of debt, and we're going to do all of that because we're building the strongest economy in the G7 for Canadian families.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
And the Prime Minister made the appointment of the parliamentary budget officer temporary so that he could hold a sword over his head and threaten him if he speaks the truth about the financial mess the Prime Minister has made. You know, to a government that doesn't know how to count, there is nothing more terrifying than a man armed with a calculator. And this Prime Minister wants to silence the parliamentary budget officer from telling the truth about the fiscal mess that he has created under his watch. So will he, Mr. Speaker, legalize math, make the parliamentary budget officer's position permanent, and tell us how big the deficit is?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker.
With respect to consultations on making the parliamentary budget officer's position permanent, I look forward to speaking to the Leader of the Opposition, le chef de bloc,
The leader of the Bloc Québécois.
of other parties in Parliament, so we have a consensus on that appointment. I welcome that opportunity. We will do it at this. Yes, because this is the new spirit, Mr. Speaker, the new spirit of collaboration that has.
The Prime Minister promised to cap spending, but is now set to double the deficit. Another broken promise, another Liberal bait and switch. Here's what the PBO, Canada's financial watchdog, said about the PM's economic record. Quote, the deficit will absolutely be higher. Quote, I don't know that the government currently has fiscal anchors. Quote, the labour market sucks. Wages are not going up. My question is this. How high will the deficit go? And what is this government's fiscal guardrail?
The Honourable, l'Honourable Ministre des Finances.
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
So happy to see that our Conservative colleagues are so eager to see the great budget we're going to present on the 4th of November. Mr. Speaker, this is good news for Canadians, indeed. It's going to be a generational investment in the future of this nation, Mr. Speaker. We're going to build our country. We're going to protect our communities. We're going to empower Canadians. We're going to build the strongest economy in the G7. We're going to build like never before. We're going to build the Canada of the 21st century because you know what, Mr. Speaker? We're the true north, strong and free.
Mr. Speaker, the PBO confirmed the deficit will be higher. Reports indicate it could even push $100 billion. Canadians know that massive Liberal deficits drive inflation. They pay for it at the grocery store as food inflation is 70% above target. And as a result, 25% of households can't afford to put food on the table. Will the Prime Minister admit that having no fiscal anchor and doubling the deficit will only drive inflation higher?
Hear, hear. L'Honourable Ministre des Finances.
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to thank the colleague for giving me the opportunity to share good news with this House, Mr. Speaker. In fact, the rate has gone down, Mr. Speaker, 2.5% today. The Bank of Canada just announced, Mr. Speaker. The Conservatives should celebrate. Consumers are celebrating. Businesses are celebrating. Canada is celebrating, Mr. Speaker. One thing that it tells to all Canadians, our plan is working. We're going to build the strongest economy in the G7.
The Honourable.
The Liberal Prime Minister promised to cap government spending, but he is slated to double the deficit. Another broken promise, another Liberal deception. Yesterday, the PBO provided a scathing assessment of the first 6 months of this Liberal PM's term. He said at his committee appearance, I don't know if the government currently has fiscal guardrails. There's no clarity, no structure. Even the independent PBO does not know. Can anyone in this government tell us how deep into the red this Prime Minister's deficit will sink? The Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, I'll be happy to see that the Conservatives will be here until November 4th. Us as well, because on November 4th we'll be presenting a generational investment plan for Canadians. We'll be building our country, protecting our communities, and we're going to build a strong Canadian economy. Together with Canadians, we will be building the most dynamic economy in the G7. We need to build the country of tomorrow, and long live the true north, strong and free.
Thank you.